If I had to start over from zero, no audience, no business, no leverage, but I still had all my knowledge, the first thing I'd do is panic. Because apparently, I've been demoted back to tutorial mode. But once I'm done panicking, I'd get to work. Not by doing what most people do, which is immediately looking up best side hustles in 2025 and somehow ending up drop-shipping beard oil. No, I'd rebuild the same way I built it the first time, by thinking like a business owner who just lost everything and now needs to make it back intentionally. So let's go through this like a reboot. Not the fun kind with a higher budget and better lighting. The kind where you have to start from scratch, but you know the cheat codes this time. The first thing I do is relearn the most painful truth in business. Nobody cares what you do. They only care what it does for them. When you have nothing, your first currency isn't money, it's relevance. If you can make yourself relevant to someone's pain point, you're already halfway there. So instead of thinking, what can I sell? I'd think, who's already in pain and how can I stop it? That's the business version of emotional intelligence, identifying the person who's quietly suffering in a spreadsheet somewhere, wondering why their funnel isn't working. And the moment you help them stop bleeding money, they'll happily give you some of it. That's value, not features, not branding, not AI automation funnels with 17 steps. Just, hey, I solved your problem. Now, most people start by trying to build a personal brand or an audience. I'd skip that, because when you're starting from zero, you don't need followers, you need conversations. And the thing about clients is, they don't magically appear when you post motivational quotes about consistency. They appear when you talk to them. So I'd go out and have conversations, real ones, not networking, where you compliment someone's profile picture and then immediately pitch your service. Actual human conversations. The formula is simple. One problem, one person, one paid result. That's it. That's your entire business plan for the first $10,000. The funny thing is, when you approach people like a human being, you start realizing business is just helping someone who's slightly more stressed than you are, for money. And if that doesn't sound glamorous enough, congratulations, you finally understand entrepreneurship. The internet has tricked people into thinking you need a brand before you can sell something. You don't. You can have no logo, no website, no social media, and still make money, as long as you can describe a painful problem and a believable result. So I'd start there. Describe one clear result I can deliver without needing a 20-page business plan or a cinematic promo video. Because here's the thing, when you're broke, efficiency beats aesthetics, and nothing screams, I have my life together, like an ugly Google Doc that makes you money. I'd call that my minimum viable offer, or MVO, which sounds fancy, but really, it's just the thing people will pay me for before I overcomplicate it. Now, everyone talks about leverage, like it's some mystical power that only billionaires have. It's not. Leverage just means multiplying effort without multiplying time. If I'm starting over, I'd look at what forms of leverage I already have that don't cost money, like words, ideas, or relationships. You'd be surprised how far you can get just by saying smart things consistently in the right places. A comment on a post, a short video, a message that actually helps someone, these things compound. That's organic leverage. It's slow, but it builds something automation can't. Trust. And once you earn that, you can start adding tools, systems, or assistance, but only after your effort has proven its worth amplifying. Otherwise, you're just automating chaos. When you're making your first $100,000, you don't need complex systems. You need habits that survive bad days. A system is just a rule you follow when you don't feel like doing the thing. So I'd create 3 basic ones. 1. Client system, how I find and talk to people who pay me. 2. Fulfillment system, how I deliver the thing without hating my life. 3. Cash flow system, how I make sure the first 2 actually lead to profit. If that sounds too simple, that's because it is. But the reality is, when you're rebuilding, simple scales faster than smart. Complexity looks impressive on paper, but in real life, it's just stress disguised as strategy. So let's say I've done the basics, a few clients, some recurring income, the Google Doc of dreams, and I'm creeping toward $100,000. This is where people usually mess up. They start acting rich before they actually are. They buy nicer software, new gear, maybe a neon sign that says CEO mode. But here's what I'd do differently this time. I'd pretend I'm still broke. Because the goal isn't to make $100,000. It's to keep it. And that means thinking like a business owner, not a lottery winner. So instead of spending money to look successful, I'd reinvest it into things that actually produce more money. Education, systems, or people who make my life easier. Basically, I'd buy fewer vibes and more leverage. Now, the moment you hit that first $100,000, you'll realize something uncomfortable. Nothing actually changes. Your life is pretty much the same, except now you stress about taxes and accidentally call yourself a founder in conversations. Scaling isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, more consistently. You stop chasing 10 opportunities at once and start doubling down on the one thing that actually works. Which is funny, because if you started that way, you'd probably get there faster. But that's how business goes. You learn the easy way only after doing it the hard way. The hardest part of rebuilding isn't money, it's boredom. You'll be tempted to jump to the next shiny thing the second progress feels slow. And that's exactly why most people stay broke, because they keep restarting before momentum compounds. The truth is, making $100,000 isn't hard. It's just inconveniently slow. You'll work for months with nothing to show. Then one day, everything clicks, and you realize you've been quietly building momentum the whole time. That's why patience isn't passive. It's the strategy that keeps you from self-sabotage. If I had to start over, the biggest difference would be that I wouldn't resist the process this time, because every stage of business feels like chaos. Until you realize chaos is the process. You start broke, then you get busy, then you get burnt out, and eventually you find balance, right before something breaks again. And that's the loop. You don't escape it, you just get better at handling it. So if I lost it all, I'd treat it like another round. Different starting point, same game. If you're still in the rebuilding everything from scratch and hoping it magically works phase, you don't have to. I'm hosting a free training this Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, where I'll show you how to skip the guesswork and start building something that actually makes money. It's free, it's live, and yes, the link's in the description. So that's how I'd scale to $100,000 if I had to start from zero again. I'd focus on value, keep things stupid simple, and ignore every guru who tells me I need 17 automation tools before I even have a client. And honestly, if that doesn't work, I'd probably just start a YouTube channel explaining how it didn't, which, based on the algorithm, might actually make me more money.